Hey guys, thank you very much again for another exciting episode of YOMO. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are on Reflection 279, and it's about something about getting back to Eden. And I'm curious to know what Chris is thinking in this reflection.
So this is another Steven Pressfield book, which I don't know if you remember this author. He writes all these like really short nonfiction books. The first one was about the war of art, about the resistance. We talked about that one in the past. That book.
No, I don't recall.
It's wildly quoted all the time by personal growth people and things like that about beating back the resistance and yada yada yada. Anyway, Steven Pressfield has a pretty well-known book in general called The War of Art. We did that one. I feel like it was probably in the first 100 of this journey with you and I. I was looking for, after I finished Nelson Mandela's book, I know exactly why this book came right after Nelson Mandela's book. This is like a 3-hour audible journey where I probably did it in a day. And Nelson Mandela's book was like 27 hours. And I think when I finally finished Nelson Mandela's book, I was like,
Give me a
okay,
break.
well, I can't go down another long ass road. I had a quota to keep to. I had an agenda on this journey, and I was like, let me just find a good nonfiction book that I've had in my anti-library that I wanted to check out. And I think I remember after I finished that first Steven Pressfield book, The War of Art, I was like, yeah, it was pretty okay. Like, I'm curious what this guy has to offer. So I think I saved a few of his other books. Anyway, that was what led me to this book called The Artist Journey and the Lifelong of Meaning by what I think I wrote that wrong, whatever the subtitle was there. But basically what this book's about is the artist journey. So the hero's journey, right? Like we talked about that. I think we did the hero's journey, didn't we? On one of I mean, if we haven't, I know we did, we will do it. So the hero's journey, we talked about many times on this whole entire journey. And the interesting thing about the hero's journey is the arc path of their life is normal. A problem hits them. Then you have the hero, right? They have to figure it out, and they meet people on the way. They solve the problem, and they share the elixir, right? That's the hero's journey, right? Well, the artist's journey is great. Once you share that elixir, once you found the elixir, like what does life look like afterwards? It almost reminds me of like the alchemist, right? Like what happened after Santiago made it back, home, and he realized that it was always back at home. What did he do for the rest of his life? Like that's kind of where this book picks up. So if the alchemist was the hero's journey, he goes on this long epic journey and he figures out like what really matters. Like what happens after the alchemist ends, is really like where Steven Pressfield is kind of picking up from this, and saying, okay, great. Like once you figure out what's important, once you understand your values,
sequel.
this is kind of the sequel, right? And I actually really like the idea behind this one because he is right. It's like once you find that elixir of, like, for you and I, once I discovered for myself, like that balance is the key, right? And living your values. And when we first started talking, right, that's every day of your life for the rest of that. And that's the artist journey, right? That's when you start to figure out how to be the person you want to be every single day and bring that out in what you do. That's the rest of your life, right? A lot of people don't get to go through the hero's journey, or you don't choose whether you go through it or not. You're thrust into it or you're not. But the artist journey is an active choice, right? Because the artist journey is you understanding where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do, what you like to do, and how you're supposed to do it, and then doing it, right? That's bringing your art into this world. So where the whole reflection title comes in with this book is art is your ticket back to Eden. Steven Pressfield had this really interesting analogy that he kind of weaves throughout this whole entire book about, think back to like when Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden. Like we've talked about this with My Stroke of Insight and a lot of other books recently about the right brain, left brain. I feel like in theory, the Garden of Eden was supposed to be this like perfectly balanced human being, right? Like we didn't have any day-to-day needs about survival or food or shelter or whatever, right? We didn't have to worry about all the logical, like, reproduction or whatever. Like Adam and Eve didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. All they had to do was exist and follow a few simple rules that God had laid out for them, right? And they were able to be like the best of the best that human beings can offer, right? And then they fucked it up. Then they were banished out of the garden. I think, as Steven Pressfield writes in here, God got angry with them and said, you'll have to work hard and sweat to make the soil produce anything until you go back to the soil from which you were formed, right? And that was our banishment out of Eden, saying like, you got to go work hard, right? So you got to go do some shit in this world if you're going to survive at all. And I feel like for most of human existence, the analogy then would be we had to really shift into our left brain focused mind at that point in time, right? We had to figure out, okay, how do we find shelter? How do we find food? How do we take care of our family? How do we do all this stuff and embrace the realities, the cold, hard reality staring us right in the face, and just get by every single day? Eventually, slowly but surely over time, the thought would then be, well, these are my thoughts at this point in time. Eventually, as we've got that stuff, the left brain priorities under wraps for the most part. As societies and humanity has progressed, the way back to Eden, and this is where Steven Pressfield's analogy comes back in, is meaningful work, and that bringing that art into this world is connecting your full human experience together, where those times when you're in that flow state, those times when you're bringing art into this world, when we're having a conversation every night or something like that, or when you're doing stuff that you know that you're supposed to do, that you feel good about doing, like those tiny little moments of the day that you maybe get a chance to unlock if you're special, is like your ticket back to Eden in a lot of ways, where you feel like you're a complete human being. You feel like you're able to tap into all that other stuff that you're missing out on, that you want, that we crave so badly. And like that tiny little portions of your day when you're able to bring your art into this world and do meaningful work with meaningful relationships is like everything, right? Because that's like completing the puzzle of what we've been missing for so long and that we crave so much, and that's what the reflection title is, like, art is your ticket back to Eden, right? So the idea then for us is like, we all have this in us. Like, we all have meaningful work in us. We all know what these values are that we want to bring to life. And we all know that there are people out there that'll help us to do that, that care about the same stuff. But like, it's on us at the end of the day to punch our ticket. We may not be able to get like a lifetime pass back to Eden, but maybe we can get like a day pass every once in a while, you know what I mean? Of doing the stuff that we really love to do and really complete our humanity every single day. And that's the artist journey, I think, and I think that's a lot of what we do. It's a lot of writing this, sharing this with you and I discussing this, like us trying to turn that into club, and the vision that we want, and the imagination and creativity we want to bring out in that ecosystem, and whatever else we decide to do along the way, like all those things are our artist journey. And like when we get to exercise that, it just feels good. And it just feels like we're doing the stuff that we were supposed to do and we were made to do, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so one of the things that I guess stands out to me is when you say, get a day pass back to Eden, right? I believe that we can actually go back to Eden permanently.
Well, every day, always be there is my point. Like,
I think we can.
Yeah.
I think we can, because the thing is, because I don't think there's a difference between who we are as a person that was in Eden and a person we are now, in terms of the potential we are now. That we have, fucked up our chances with God in Eden, because God didn't take away anything from us, right? He didn't take away anything. He just said, well, I'm not taking care of you no more. Now you have to take care of yourself. Because we don't know how to take care of ourselves, we have to work hard and toward the soil to make things meet, to get the food in our stomachs, to get the shelter, the roof over our head, right? So to me, what we are today is a result of our own stability. So meaning that we mess up our chances with God, but also we all mess up our chances of our potential as well. Because you think about it, in today's society, you and I have to go to work, and we do these meaningful tasks to do what? And arbitrary goals for who sets up these goals, right? Just somebody to magically decide, hey, let's go and try to make these people do something. But you imagine, the image I have with company, and I'm sure you can relate, is that the image with company is you don't have a care in the world. All you do is you do meaningful work every day. Right? I truly
with the community of people and security,
because you think about it, if you and I have created this community, that means that the God of Eden has come back. Because you think about it, when you and I are working on our arts, right? You and I are art itself, right? The reason why we're not doing art is because we are forced by the tribe, the society, to tell us to do something we don't want to do. We hated doing this thing, right? But you think about it in company, what happened in company? We talk about company, right? Hey, you get the scholarship to do whatever you want. We're not asking for you for anything in return. You don't have to, meet any kind of quota. You do whatever you want, right? If you want to go fishing all day, go fishing all day. You want to go sleep all day, go sleep all day, right? So you think about it, isn't that Eden? Because to me, when you have your necessity taken care of, you start to perform your art. Wouldn't you agree? Because that's
the only time you can. You can't worry about art when you're trying to
survive, right? When you're trying to survive. The thing is, the survival aspect of it takes away from ourselves, takes away from the art. Once you have meet the necessity, the security, the survival, the the survival basics, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's Maslow's, pyramid, whatever. There is a level of survival basic needs, like essential need. That's the people call it. So to me, that's the survival need. As long as you can be able to survive, then your art starts to come out because you are art itself.
You're free.
And so if you and I have created this tribe where we do the art, and the art in turn creates a value that in turn cycles into providing the necessity, which I think is going to be tenfold what we are forced to do because we love this so much. Because imagine you playing tennis and say, hey, go ahead and go teach somebody how to do forehand. You can teach to do forehand like all day long just because you love it so much.
I mean, all the time.
And people wants to learn, and that provides value to them, right? And so that's what I'm saying is, if I want to eat cake, if I love cake, I'm gonna eat cake as much as I can. Okay, you playing tennis, right? Take the example of yourself playing tennis, and you play until your shoulders is not allowing you to play anymore, but you still find ways to do it. And so that's what I'm saying is your art comes out the moment that you have your necessity taken care of. And once you have art, then you can be yourself. And once you can be yourself, you are in the Garden of Eden. So it's not about revisiting it because yes, right now you are revisiting.
That's what I mean. You
have a day pass or whatever, revisit it because you still have your day job, because you still have to go and talk about QBR, right? That's why
we have that next week.
But I think if you and I can create this tribe of community where that is the way it works, which is, against the grain of society today, that can happen. Therefore, I say, in that case, in that scenario, you and I are in the Garden of Eden more than just a day pass. I mean, I think we can do that permanently. But I said that's the way. We're not there yet, right? We're not there yet because we still have to go and work, quote, unquote, work and do our day job because that's what society is dictating us that we have to do in order to survive. So in order for us to survive, we have to put arts aside for a little bit and do the daily work and then go visit the Garden of Eden once in a while. But I truly believe that if company gets to the point where that is the norm, anyone who enters company is get to do what they want and has the scholarship to get the basic necessities for them to do their art, then eventually that will feed onto itself and will, it sustains itself. Because imagine that if you do what you love, eventually somebody can see that value and they say, hey, I want you to teach me how to play tennis because I love playing tennis too. So I'm willing to pay to learn, right? Because right now you go and you pay court fees and tournament fees and all that.
So my monthly challenge this month was, because my shoulder's all fucked up and I can't really hit my normal forehand, I was like, I'm going to work on the shots that I wanted to always get a little bit better at. The actual literal monthly challenge was 30 minutes of deliberate practice of tennis a day on very specific skills that I want to get better at, right? So I've been working on my backhand slice. I've been working on my backhand volleys. I've been working on my serve. I've been working on my backhand out wide down the line when I'm on the run, and then I've been working on my forehand slice because I can't hit a topspin forehand right now. Like my topspin forehand has always been my biggest weapon, right? And I just can't count on it right now. So I've been trying to shore up all these other different areas of the game. So I've been spending so much time this month, and I was out on the court today for the first time today. I've had the busiest week at work, and I had like this 2-hour gap. My plan to get my 30 minutes in every single day was I usually end my last meeting with my team at 4:15ish. As soon as I get done, I scramble downstairs, get changed, and I try to get to the courts and back by 5 or 5:15. That's usually when my wife gets home with Luca. So I'm not burdening her with this or whatever. I'm trying to get it in as fast as I can. I've only missed 2 days so far this month. And one of them was by choice because I needed a rest day because I'd done like 10 straight days in a row. And I was like, I think I need to take a break, but I was having a blast and I'm still having a blast. Well, today I had this 2-hour window of time in the middle of the day. And I didn't have to rush myself at the end of the day or anything like that. I was like, man, I'm gonna go play for 2 fucking hours. So I did. I went down to the courts and I was just hitting balls all day long. And I actually, to your point, like I wasn't really trying to work on my forehand slice, but because I can't hit a forehand topspin shot right now, I was like, maybe I feel okay going like this, but not like this when I turn over. So I was like, well, I'll work on that because I don't really ever use that in my game a lot. And I started to hit so many forehand slices today that and actually was like hitting really, really good shots. And I was doing it on the run and trying to set up different scenarios to go use my ball machine and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have learned this shot like when I was like a kid. Cause I was like, this could be a weapon for me, and I started to feel, I could feel like when I was hitting certain balls, like I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I could see it. I could feel it. My body was like, and my mind was seeing it. I was watching it all happen. And I'm like, man, like I should have really been focused on the shot for a lot longer of my life, because I was starting to hit like really, really, really unique, interesting shots where I was like, man, this could become really, really versatile on the court. I should have been using this anyway in the first place, you know? So anyway, so I'm playing this all day long, and I'm having that feeling where I get off the court and I'm like, oh man, this feels great. You know, I'm like, I'm like a pig in shit, rolling around in shit or whatever out there. And I was just having a blast hitting all different kinds of shots that I never hit. And I was, you know, really working on technique and trying to get a good rhythm and understand muscle memory and, you know, train my elephant, I guess, if you will. I was having a fucking blast, and I was seeing little insights into stuff that I'd never seen before. And I was like, this is really, really helpful. So this is where I'm going to show you is later on tonight, a friend of mine that I used to play tennis with all the time. His name was, I think I've told you about him. He's like a legit Sheldon Cooper. He's the guy that's
the math professor.
Yeah, the math professor.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So I played with him in years because he hurt his shoulder. It's probably been about 2 years since I've played with him, and he hurt his shoulder himself. And he also was a little weary of COVID and everything. And plus he's a professor. So he actually is a professor at University of Michigan. So he's up there pretty regularly, but then his wife worked at Eli Lilly down here in Indianapolis. So they would come back and forth. So he's been basically living up in Michigan because he hurt his shoulder and he hasn't been playing down here. So we just stayed connected via text, and he'll look at my scores and things of our league matches online and text me and ask about how the matches have been going and just stay connected, right? Well, I probably haven't even heard from him in probably like 4 or 5 months. And he texted me today after I got off the courts and everything. And I was going to show you this. So the point about art, and when you have a chance to do art, right? So it was like a long text thread, but he goes, this is his text up here. He goes, of course, I'll check back in from time to time because he's moving to Michigan. So he's fully living up in Ann Arbor. But he's like, I really regret not being able to see you play since you got great. He was like, hopefully I'll get a chance to do that. And so at some point, he's like, I'm so impressed as someone who's recently at my level can improve as much as you and as quickly as you did. And he's like, did you ever find a coach, by the way? Because I know we had talked about that, of like trying to get a little bit better at something. Mm-hmm. And I kind of answered him. I was like, you know, whatever. I gave him my explanation. He said, what impresses me the most is that you changed your whole strategic approach to tennis. He was like, which must have required a lot of untraining and retraining your instincts, which, you know, about which shot to hit given the situation. He's like, that can't be easy, even though you managed to do it pretty quickly. He's like, that must have required a lot of combination of self-awareness and mental discipline that not a lot of people have. And honestly, I felt really good when he was saying that, because he's right. I told him that really does mean a lot. That's why I love tennis, because I always get to discover something new and to learn. That is why I love tennis, is there's always something new for me to learn. And I'm sharing this with you because, to your point of bringing your values out, this is why I love tennis. Like, other people are texting me this stuff. Like, this isn't just me saying, hey, True, I love tennis. These are other people that are good tennis players that are like, man, you just got way better. This is really, to be fair, the massive growth with me has been since Amelia passed away, and with understanding more about what matters in life and understanding the artist's journey. Amelia and I went through the hero's journey. We found what we wanted, and we're sharing the elixir with ourselves and with other people along the way. But now this is when the artist stuff comes into play, because we're only talking about like 3-4 years ago, when I didn't really start replaying competitive tennis again until I was probably like 31 years old. So I probably took a full decade off after college of not playing competitive tennis. I still played tennis, but I didn't play competitively. My first team that I joined, this guy Mike was on the team. That's where we met, and he was the best player that we had on that team, and he killed people all day long, and he killed me. He kicked my ass up and down the fucking court all fucking day long, and it was like comical because I knew that I had better skills than him, and he knew that I had better skills than him, and he knew that I was in way better physical shape than him. He knew I had every advantage possible. I just didn't know how to play tennis anymore. You know, I didn't know how to play the fucking game. And like, Mike taught me how to play the game, and then Amelia taught me what matters in life and what I want to focus my attention on. And that's when I really started to get better and better and better at this stuff. You know, even people like him seeing this stuff is like, how did that happen? I'm like, I don't know. I just wanted to get better because I cared and I want to learn. I like learning. I understand what matters to me now, you know, and this is the artist journey, I guess.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what I'm saying is the value you bring, because it aligns with who you are. For most people, it's like this tremendous feat that you have to do. But for you, it's like, this is what I do every day. It's normal.
It's fun.
And when you look at the I guess the spectrum of where have you been and how much value you bring to the world is astronomical, because you're looking at the growth that you had, right? The growth that you had compared to many other people is so much, and that value can be, you know, it can pay for the rest of, because anyone who see you at that kind of growth is willing to pay you to get your consultation, your coaching, your advice, whatever it is, right? Because and that will help them grow. And that basically provide them with also values. So values turn into more values, and values turn into more value. This is a perfect storm of the value coming together, and it multiplies so much out of. So you imagine that inside of company where you have our society turn to a company tribe.
Right.
That to me is everybody is able to go through the artist journey themselves.
Right.
Where, like you said, the
Together.
life where the life was effortless and carefree. That's to me, that is the artist journey, because you are doing exactly what you are made to do, what you're born to do. And that to me, this is when you are on your artist journey, and you can be on that journey forever if
Right.
we can somehow create the environment that you and I have imagined for so long, the company tribe. That tribe meaning that, hey, we are going to give you money to do what it is that you do best.
Right.
Because
And
we're not asking,
going to give you a
right? And a community. To me,
and people that care about the same stuff you care about,
And to me, you think about it, that the way that I see it, in my mind, that's like the Garden of Eden, because you in there you don't have to worry about the survival, because everybody's going to look at you and say, well, that guy is world class at being the beaver, world class at being the tennis player, the fisherman, the whatever, like, hey, the tax accountant or whatever, that your heart's content. You are so good at what you do that everybody's going to come to you for that service. Maybe you're a good strawberry grower, right? Somebody loves strawberry. They're going to buy strawberry from you because you're so good at it. And so instead of you, like for example, right now, take Snow, for example. He loves to teach, but he's teaching something that he don't want to teach. Maybe he wants to teach something else, right?
You can tell he's just chomping at the bit to teach anything else, all the stuff that he loves to talk about and care about.
To me, I think he loves to teach philosophy.
Yeah, he does. And I think he loves to teach farming too. And I think he loves to teach cheese making. I think he loves to teach all different kinds of stuff that he loves to do.
Yesterday, you and I talked about learning, right? For me, learning, and for you, learning is one of the core values. But you asked me to learn anything. That's not going to happen.
No.
The thing is, for Snow, it's like, you love teaching, teach this, teach that, right? No, there's certain things he loves to teach. It's one of the core values, but it's not his purpose to teach anything and everything. And so for you and I, we love to learn, but it's not like we want to learn about things we don't care about. There's something you and I don't care about. And so you and I care about different things as well. So your learning is going to be different than my learning. And so that is what gets us the difference. But having the ability to pick and choose the art that we produce, to me, once you're in that state, you have this effortless and carefree life, which is the artist. To me, that's artist journey. And we can be there without having to have like, hey, you have a 2-hour day pass back to Eden to go play tennis, or to go, do your gardening, or go fishing, or enjoy being a foodie, taste different food and rank them or whatever, right? To somebody, a foodie is their calling, and they're going to say, well, I love to go and taste different food, and I'm going to rank them, and I'm going to write this, reviews or whatever. There's people who love that, and there's people who are really good at. I know this for a fact because I am terrible in literature and art. For me, I just can't grasp the concept. But a lot of people can look at what I wrote and say, well, this is wrong, and they are so good at picking out the little things that, to me, that, hey, I wouldn't be able to look at it even if I read it 50 times over. I can't tell. But they are very good at knowing stuff like that. So same thing with like somebody looking at your tax return and say, well, you missed here, you missed there. Like they will go through as if it's a hot knife cutting through butter. Effortless. This is what you call effortless and carefree, because they are so good. They are masterful at what they do. It is like nothing. When you're talking about the world-class deep sea diver, like I told you, he can find the treasure easily and faster and safer, and other things that he does going to be better than anyone else. And to him, that's effortless. And he loves it that because he's be carefree. So to me, the Garden of Eden is not that far. We just have to be able to convince people to accept this society that is not the society of today. The society today, for whatever reason, we sabotage ourselves and put ourselves in places that we are not able to perform the art that we were meant to perform.
We do a lot of shallow work versus deep work. Is really, this ties into that book that I just finished that Snow recommended, and I think we end up chasing our tails doing a bunch of meaningless shit. every single day.
That's
that we
what we
force
do,
ourselves to
and
do.
90% of
But,
our time is actually doing meaningless shit, because
yep.
it doesn't mean anything to us. It's, hey, I go out there and
We're still
I was
chasing our tails all day long. We still think we need to fight every single day for, and to a certain extent we do. I'm not saying that that's the balanced, right, existence. We got to do them both, but like we're so far tilted to meaningless shit versus meaningful shit. Like you should have a balanced day of like, you should probably do some
Well,
meaningless shit.
I don't think that you need to have that balance in between the meaningless and the meaningful, because even in the meaningful, you still have to maintain that balance, because the artist journey isn't like nothing, right? Artist
Yeah,
journey,
you
it
can't do it all
requires
the time.
require concentration, time, and
Right.
effort to bring it to life. But because it's something that aligns with us, it drives us. It makes us feel like, hey, we feel good when we do it. Take yourself, for example. You are good at what you do in tennis or in sales, whatever, but it still requires work.
Covered in sweat. I mean, I was out there for 2 hours and 85
Exactly.
degrees and humidity soaking wet, like covered in sweat. Like,
but it's all meaningful. It's not meaningless.
I was loving it. Like,
so there's no, to me, there should not be a balance between meaningless work and meaningful work. Like, hey, I'm going to do 50% meaningless work and 50% meaningful work. I don't think it works like in that fashion. Because
I think in a weird way, it kind of evens itself out that way, because I don't want to zone out every once in a while and just do stupid shit. I mean, there's a reason why we love social media and why we love just scrolling through Yahoo
and social media, because it aligns with who you are as a basic instinctive, the animal brains of yours, right? Because otherwise you won't be addicted to it. So to me, that's meaningful in a way, because you are looking for social proof. You're looking for survival, survival elements of your life. So that's why you want to go ahead, they do this, we should do all the, okay, I'm aligned. And that means that I'm not like way out. I'm not completely like isolate myself from society. So the thing is, we need that society. We need that tribe. That's why social media is so addictive to a lot of people. It's because they need to say, well, am I doing this? Am I even in the ballpark, or am I completely off? I want to know that I'm in the right direction, because if you think about it, let's say there is something happen and you drive down the street and no one is driving down the street with you, and a bunch of people driving the opposite direction. What do you think comes to your mind? You're going to start driving down that path, that road, and everybody is driving the opposite road. You tell me what happens.
I love that example, actually, because it just makes me think of what Mike was saying back to me about, like, untraining and retraining yourself to completely to think differently about what you're doing, right? Like that's really hard, because we've talked about this so many times. Like, because it takes an atomic bomb to
you're gonna stop, right?
You will, right? Like it would take an atomic bomb for you to go, no, I think I am. Maybe I should just keep going and see what happens.
Because the thing is, you never stop to consider yourself that, hey, maybe I'm right and the rest of people are wrong. You can say, well, I'm wrong, because not everybody's gonna be right. So that's the point I'm trying to make, is that if you know who you are and you're right, even if you have to be the only one driving in the opposite direction as everybody else, with confidence that you still can continue on that road. But if you don't, I guarantee you, anyone in that position will have to stop and say, okay, I need to rethink this.
I mean, if somebody knew what I was doing today in the middle of my workday, and said, like, Chris, what the fuck are you doing? You're playing tennis for 2 hours in the middle of your workday? Like, what? You can't do that. And I'm gonna go,
yes, I can.
I mean, why can't I do that?
No one does it. Just if no one does it, doesn't mean that it's wrong. And so that's what I'm saying is, you imagine yourself driving down that road, right? And everybody is driving down the other, and nobody, like to your left, to the right, there's nobody behind you, in front of you, no one. You're the only one in that direction, and everybody else is going in the opposite direction. You're gonna second guess yourself. But once you know who you are, it doesn't matter what anyone else does. No, you're gonna say, well, I'm really confident. Because otherwise you would not be playing tennis during the day for 2 hours, because no one does it.
No, I was the only one out on the court. Like, I mean, it's not like I'm, there's a reason why nobody's at the courts in the middle of the day, which actually it's funny, because what you were talking about, this whole thing made me think of, in general, like how much I love this journey that we're on, because I actually forgot all about this book, to be honest with you. I really did. When I first brought this up tonight and looked at the reflection, I was like, shit, I don't even remember what this book's about. I had to go read back my own notes. I had to go read through this reflection, and I remembered. I was like, oh, now I remember what it was. Now that we're talking about it, I'm like, man, I think this guy was onto something really interesting, because you see the hero's journey is so popular. You think about movies or whatever, every story is always like the hero's journey. You know, I mean,
every book that we ever read,
every book,
through a hero's journey.
But no one ever talks about what happens, like when Luke Skywalker comes home and he's got to go live his life every single day afterwards. Like, what happened to Luke Skywalker after he killed Darth Vader or whatever? Like, what did he do? Like, what did he do the next day? What did he do the day after that? Like, was he just depressed and sat around and fuck all, you know, like, what did Luke Skywalker do every day of his life? And it makes me think of like The Perfect Day is Ordinary with Tuesdays with Morrie, right? And it's like
effortless and carefree.
Right. You have to live your life every day. And like, what are you doing? You can't have these epic hero journeys all the time, right? Eventually, you take your lesson and you go back home and you live your life, right? Yeah, you may have a few hero's journeys on the course of your life, but when you go through one of these epic trials of your life and you get that little Triforce piece, like what does Zelda do after he beats Gandalf? What did he do? What did Zelda do every day after he beats Gandalf? What does he do? I don't know.
He starts a game.
We don't write stories about it. I don't. That's what you would think, right? Like, but like, you don't write stories about what the fuck happens after you get the lesson or you learn whatever you need to learn, and you can share the elixir with everybody. You know, like we don't talk about that, because that is the artist's journey. That's everyday life. It's boring, but it's not at the same time. If you do
it's not to the right person, because to me, it's like you say, hey, you know, the perfect day is a normal day, like Tuesday, you know.
Right.
Tuesday with
Today's
Morrie.
a perfect day, man. Today's a perfect day.
I mean, you asked me what's the image of whenever I get to the point where I don't need to care about survival anymore. It's a Mexican fisherman picture. Like, that's the only picture that comes to my mind. It's like, that to me is a perfect day. That doesn't mean that I don't do shit inside of that image, right? That means that I still make friends. I go fishing. I try different things.
Cook dinner. You hang out with your family. You know, whatever. I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's tons of millions of possibilities what I can do inside of that artist journey, but it's still an artist journey. It's not like, you know, it's completely non-effortless. You know, it's still effort. It's effortless, but it's not like no effort. Effortless is not the same thing as no effort. Effortless means that you are a master at what you do. You're world class at who you are. You're world class at your art. That for you, right? It is not difficult, but for other people, it looks like it's a mountain to climb. And to me, this is what effortless means to me. Effortless and carefree. You get to that state of mind, you are doing your art. And if you can do that most of your time on earth, right? You are in a garden of Eden. Because the thing is, what do you do in the Garden of Eden? You don't have to go, hey, I'm gonna go and farm, and I'm gonna go and cook, and I'm going.
You're being a complete human, is what you're being.
Eden, you are being who God made you to be.
Right.
Whatever that you made to do, you do that. You don't worry about how, you know, I'm gonna go work, I'm gonna earn some cheddar, some dinero, or some pesos, some dollars, or whatever. You go home so I can feed myself. Otherwise, I'll starve to death, right? In the Garden of Eden, you don't have to worry about any of that. But that means that you have the time to be human, to be Adam, to be Eve, to be Chris, to be true. And so for me, getting to that point is possible. Because like I say, God did not take anything away from us. He just say, hey, you have learned things that you are not ready to learn.
Right.
And because of that, you now sabotage yourself. That's what I'm saying is, you know, most of our, I guess, our torture comes from self-inflicted misery. Our pain. No one put a gun to your head and say you have to think about this, have to do this, have to do that. You did it yourself. I mean, you say, hey, let's pretend like, you know, like, I want to make $1 billion today. So what you do, you put yourself in some kind of predicament. Who set up that rule? Who set up that goal? Who said you have to do QBR, and who said you have to make a certain quotas and certain. Everything we do, 99% of everything we do is self-inflicted misery. We sabotage ourselves.
My biggest work issue these days is there's this colleague of mine. He's a really nice guy. He really is. Like, from a personality perspective, he's a really hard worker, really nice guy. He doesn't know what he's doing in his job. And I don't mean that like that I know everything or something. I'm saying that he doesn't know what he's doing. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, everybody can learn and get better at it. Every time that I accidentally have to interact with him regularly, he has the keys to certain areas of the business that I do not have. So I have to go through his door, I guess, if you will, and interact with him. And every time that I talk to this guy, like, I'm like, I want to blow my brains out, because I'm like, look, man, like, all I want you to do is I want to share my problem with you, and you can help me to fix it, or you can say fuck off or whatever. Like, I don't really care. But what it devolves into is this like forever long lecture about how he's going to do it. Then he never does it. And most of the time, as soon as he starts talking about how he's going to do it, I like zone out, and I just want to be like, shut up. Just, I don't fucking care. Like, I'm just telling you what my problem is, and you're the one that needs to go just fix it, and just don't talk to me ever again. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, you know, like I you know what I mean? Like, it's all that I want to say, and I don't, but I have to sit there and listen to him drone on and on about why we should do it this way or that way, go through like 9 different things about how we can do this or that or whatever. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. I mean, multiple times now, I literally am talking, he's talking, and I'm just, because it's always on a Zoom call, and I'm like, just stop. Like, I don't care. Like, just hear what I'm asking you to do. Do you understand the problem that I'm having? And are you going to be able to help me? Like, because that's all that I want to know. Like, I don't want to talk to you at all. And I don't mean this in a mean way to him either. I just don't give a fuck. Like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with the problems that we're dealing with. If I never had to talk to you ever again for the rest of my life, I think I'd be okay. And I don't mean that because you're a bad person or because you're whatever. I don't care about what we're talking about. Like, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I mean, and this is the shit that you're talking about, of like being put into situations where like I'm forced to like bite my I'm on the other end of this going, Chris, just be calm. It's fine. This isn't a big deal. And this is what I'm going on in my head. I'm like, just let him keep droning on. Let him keep talking. Don't be a dick, you know. And a part of me, I'm just want to go, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, you know, like, but I shouldn't want to have to do that with what I'm talking about. I can listen to you drone on all day long about whatever you want to talk about. And I'm like, I don't want to yell, shut the fuck up, True. I care about what you're saying. I want to have this conversation with you. I don't want to talk to this guy about any of this stuff.
I understand all of the pain I'm ever got and will get is from myself. It's not from anyone else. I put myself in the situation, right? So to me, we as a human, we don't have the ability, we were not ready to get the knowledge that we got from eating the forbidden fruit. So we got the knowledge without having the ability to hold on to it. Just imagine me like, hey, somebody give me a tank, but for me to have to, you know, hold it up. I mean, it's great that you give me this powerful weapon, but there's no way that I can even, there's no way for me even to like take it home. You think about it. If somebody gives you something like it's so great, but it's so much greater than you can handle, what happened? I mean, imagine for me to hold my tank out above my head, right? Yeah. It's gonna crush me. So to me, that's what I'm saying is we were not ready for the knowledge, and God said you can't have it yet, but we got it anyway. So now we are completely out of the logical sequence of what we need to do to make things work. So we sabotage ourselves. We self-inflict ourselves with all this misery. So for me, that's what I've learned as far as the company, through company, is I understand that everything we do is self-inflicted. So any pain that I've got today, right? Yeah. That's why for me, the I don't want to portray concept, I quickly absorb it because I understand that, hey, why should I run for the train? Like, I mean, what's the point?
Right.
So to me, you know, a lot of things that we do, it is from our own self-sabotage, not from anyone else. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so I think that because of that, this is why our society is what it is today. So I think that if we can start to understand and start to build the knowledge foundation from the bottom up, giving it the support it needs, I think company can be that, and that can give us a chance to go back into Eden permanently without having to have a day pass. Because a day pass, you know, it's good, but you know, we could be better at it. Because like I say, if you were in the Garden of Eden and if Adam and Eve never ate the fruit, right, they would spend all the day doing the arts. You think about it. That's what they're supposed to do. And you want to do it. But today we spend like 1% or no percent doing our art. We're doing all this shitty, meaningful shit. That
I'm yelling at somebody that I don't want to yell about.
It's painful to us. Right?
Yeah. I mean, after I just explained that whole thing to you, like, this poor guy has to think like maybe I'm like schizo or something like that, because every meeting that he's on with me and other meetings where I'm talking to somebody else, I'm like incredibly respectful, very, very collaborative with people, like, you know, whatever. And he's probably like, why do I get the shit, Chris? And part of it's exactly what we're talking about. You get the shit, Chris, because we're talking about stuff that I don't give a fuck about, and you think that I do care, and you want to keep talking about it. I don't care. Like I don't care. Like just take it away from me, please. Leave it. And I don't want this. Like I don't want anything to do with this.
Inflicting misery onto you, but it's also inflicting misery onto him as well. You think about it, it just multiplies out of control.
It does.
So that's the reason why. That's why we are not in the God of Eden anymore, because we did that to ourselves. It's not, you don't go blame God or blame the serpent. You know, you blame everybody else except for us, because you're the one who chose. I mean, it's not like the serpent lies to you. Right?
Yeah.
You just didn't understand what he said.
I mean, it's you're.
But we blame on the serpent and say, hey, no, he tricked me. Say, no, father fucking trick you into anything. You sabotage your own self, and now you continue to sabotage by not even taking accountability. Right? You go and you suffer this meeting with this guy. He's also suffering. I guarantee you, he's not having fun.
Oh no, he's not. I can see it on his face, getting more and more frustrated with me, and I'm like, and I'm
frustrated.
Like this is like this. I feel like this happens like twice a week, and honestly, I know both of us dread the conversations we have to have with each other. This is like a great analogy of the negative compound effect, the negative spiral of not doing stuff that neither one of us, because I know that he doesn't even want to do the stuff that he's doing. To be fair, he got shoved into this role that he was unqualified for, and he's trying his best to work hard and to be that's why I said he's a good guy. He works hard, he's trying,
but it's not his art.
He doesn't know what he's doing, but it's not his art, and he doesn't care either. Like I don't care about what I'm asking him to do, and he doesn't care about what he's delivering back to me. Just therefore arguing about nothing that either one of us care about, and I'm like, just do it. And he's like, I don't want to do it. But it all is like it turns into a negative shit spiral of not meaningful relationships and not meaningful work, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, and we're both miserable. Versus on the other side of it, like me playing tennis and trying my best to be who I want to be helps me to meet guys like Mike Zeeb, who's fucking Sheldon Cooper, who's texting me saying like, I'm really impressed by your ability to like problem solve and unlearn. Like this is from a fucking mathematician that's like a world-renowned mathematician. A theoretical mathematician has to probably unlearn all day long. This is why when he talks to me, he's probably like, I don't understand how you don't like math. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I was like, this is what you need to do to be a good mathematician. And like the point of what I'm getting at with that is these are upward spiral conversations and things where we're encouraging each other to get better. We're finding the similarities to get along with and to connect on and to help each other, you know? Like, I mean, it's so easy to see the difference between the two.
Exactly. I mean, what I'm saying is, you know, everything is going to spiral upward and everything is spiral downward. And our society today is spiraling downward and getting worse and worse. It's because we do that. It's right now, it's like when you go to work, it's like, it's not like, even in the past, like we basically shoot ourselves in the foot in the past as well. In the past, at least you have like co-workers and you still have this camaraderie. And today it's like, I mean, you have a community back there. Like, hey, you know, I work with John and John this, and we have this, you know,
care about him.
This workmate. Today it's like, you don't even care the guy you meet every day. You see the guy's face every day because the thing is, he drives you nuts.
I'll probably never meet him, Toronto.
Well, you don't meet him, but you talk to him, right? You are face to face with him on a camera. Even in that scenario, you frustrate him. He frustrates you. So today, it's not like you can connect, but I have a connection with you because of the thing we talked about. This is the art that we want to do, and
you've never seen me angry. You've never seen me even remotely frustrated.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is because we are doing things we want to do and do the art that we do with other people, it compounds positively.
It's good energy. It only is an upward spiral when you and I talk. It's only a downward spiral when this other guy and I talk.
Because I talk to other people as well. Because the thing is, I was forced to do the things that I want to do, and he frustrated me, and I frustrate him. It gets out of control, and then he goes and frustrates other people, and I go frustrate other people as well. Because the thing is, we don't have any alignment. And that creates this society. I don't know what you call the status of society today, but I don't think, pretty much. That society today is completely not the thing that we want, and that's why, to me,
we're gonna fix
company is important because we are going to undo that and rebuild this tribe where you come in and you do your art, and you do that 90% to 100% of the time, right? And the positive fact, we actually spiral compound to help other people, because you go and influence other people around you positively, not negatively. Because if I bring in a negative emotion to a meeting, right, that's going to frustrate other people, and they're going to frustrate more and more. And so that's what I'm saying is, if you talk about something that I love to talk about, positive emotion is the only thing that exudes from my body. It's not going to say, hey, I love to eat cake, but then how can you go and be negative on something you love to do? I mean, imagine, hey, I love to eat cake, eat ice cream.
About eating ice cream. Who's bitching about eating cake? Like, who sits around and goes, oh, I gotta fucking eat this goddamn cake. This is disgusting. I can't believe you guys are making me do this.
If you joke around that and say, hey,
no, then I dive in. I'm like,
right? I'm gonna get diabetic. But people are they cannot take that negatively. They can't.
No. My aunt makes these gluten-free brownies for me. Being gluten-free is kind of like a secret weapon when it comes to pitch-ins and whatever. There's no sweets to usually eat besides chips or whatever. There's usually only like fruit and vegetables and stuff like that to eat off the party plates and whatever. I get to accidentally eat healthy when I'm around other people. Well, like my aunt is like super nice and accommodating, and she loves to try to be nice, and will cook like gluten-free desserts all the time. And she makes them really, really good.
That's the thing, is she does it all the time.
Yeah, no, because this is what happens every fucking time. She puts it on and there, and she's like, "Hey, Chris, just wanted to let you know I made this gluten-free special for you and your mom and your sister." And I'm like, "Thanks, Aunt Lisa, really appreciate it." Like, goddamn. And then she's like, then she just never like put any pressure on me. But I know there's pressure on me. Like, I gotta eat her.
You don't gotta eat nothing.
No, I do.
You know that is why she does it all the time, not because.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Right? Because it doesn't matter what you say, but it's the way that you exude that positive.
Oh, I know. It happens,
vibe, right? And that's why she made it.
It happens every single damn time where I'll finally go. Like, I'll be done with dinner, and actually, sometimes I just want to like sneak out. Like, I'll be done with dinner, my mom will be like, "Hey, did you try some whatever?" And I'm like, "Damn it, mom!" Like, no, stop that. So then I end up eating it, and then I'm like, "Oh, this is so good, it's so good." And she's like laughing at me over in the corner. And I'm like, "Stop making food!" Like, and then she brings in more. She's like upping her game now. Like, the desserts are getting better and better.
That's why I say positive compounding effect, because there's nothing that you can do because you love it. That's why they see that you love it. They continue to up their game. They are upgrading their art.
Oh my God. 4th of July, she brought down this like gluten-free pecan fudge, like chocolate melded, like, I don't even know what the fuck it was. It was like awesome. It was just.
It sounds good to me.
It was just fucking awesome. I kept walking by it. We were at my parents' lake house, and it was like, a bunch of my family were down there, and people were just obviously were bringing food down and stuff. And I walked by and I was like, what the fuck is that thing? And it almost looked so good that I was like, that can't be gluten-free. I was like, they cannot possibly be gluten-free.
But it is.
So I walk downstairs, I go out to the dock, and like everybody's out on the dock, or deck on the water or whatever. And and I was like, hey, what was that pecan-looking thing up in there? And my Aunt Lisa's like, oh, I made that. That's actually gluten-free. She's like, I handmade the crust, like whatever. And I was like, no! This massive amount of it home after I ate so much of it. Like, every time I'd walk by it, I would just take more. And eventually, like, there was like a nice little corner piece of it, like a good quarter of the pan left. Right. By the time the day was over. Of course, it ended up going home with me. And I stared at it in my fridge the first 2 days after. This was a Tuesday, whatever 4th of July was. For like Wednesday and Thursday, I like stared at this thing and I was like, I can't eat this again. I was like, I know how bad, like, my stomach hurt. Like, it didn't hurt like gluten-free. Like, it didn't hurt like I got gluten. It hurt like I ate a shitload of bad.
You eat way more than you should.
Right. It's like, and I was like, and then it happened. True. Like, it was like,
you cannot escape your art.
My wife the next day comes in and she was like, did you eat all that stuff that we took? And I was like, I did. Yeah.
It's calling to you.
It's awful. Anyway, all right. I've been hearing clinking dishes going on in the background. You get back to your family and have a good rest of your vacation. And I'll see you on Monday. Okay.
Sounds good. See you, man.
Have a good night.